Hello everyone, and welcome back to Daily Global Motivation, the channel dedicated to helping you unlock your full potential, build unshakable confidence, and create the life you truly deserve. We are grateful that you have chosen to spend your valuable time with us today, because that decision alone tells us something important about you. It tells us that you are not satisfied with staying where you are. It tells us that deep inside, you believe you were created for more. Before we begin, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel, like this video, leave a comment sharing where you are watching from, and share this message with someone who needs encouragement today. Every like, every comment, and every share helps the YouTube algorithm recommend our videos to more people around the world who are searching for hope, growth, and transformation. Together, we can build a community that inspires millions of people to become the best version of themselves. Now let me ask you a question that could completely change the course of your life. What if the person you are 90 days from now could barely recognize the person you are today? What if the habits that currently hold you back disappeared? What if your confidence increased dramatically? What if your mindset became stronger, your discipline became sharper, your vision became clearer, and your results began reflecting the greatness that has always existed inside you? The truth is that 90 days may not seem like a long time, but history has shown us that 90 days can completely transform a human life. Entire businesses have been built in 90 days. Life-changing habits have been formed in 90 days. Financial turnarounds have started in 90 days. Health transformations have begun in 90 days. Relationships have improved in 90 days. The difference between people who reinvent themselves and people who stay stuck is not talent, intelligence, luck, or even resources. The difference is the willingness to commit to a process long enough for change to happen. Many people spend years waiting for the perfect moment. They tell themselves they will start when they have more money, when they have more time, when circumstances improve, or when they feel more motivated. Yet the reality is that motivation rarely comes before action. Motivation often appears after action. People imagine that successful individuals wake up every day feeling inspired and excited, but that is not true. The most successful people in the world often feel tired, uncertain, and discouraged just like everyone else. The difference is that they have learned to move forward even when they do not feel like it. One of the biggest misconceptions about personal development is the belief that transformation must happen overnight. Social media has conditioned many people to expect instant results. We see dramatic before and after stories, overnight success narratives, and highlight reels that make progress appear effortless. What we do not see are the countless hours of work behind the scenes. We do not see the failures, setbacks, disappointments, and sacrifices that made those victories possible. Reinvention is not an event. Reinvention is a process. It is not a single decision that changes your life. It is a series of decisions repeated consistently over time. Imagine a plane leaving New York for Los Angeles. If the pilot changes the course by only a few degrees, the passengers may not notice anything at first. The adjustment seems insignificant. Yet over hundreds and thousands of miles, those small degrees create a completely different destination. Human lives work the same way. Small daily changes may seem insignificant today, but over 90 days they can produce extraordinary results. A person who reads 10 pages every day may finish several books within 3 months. A person who exercises for 30 minutes every day may dramatically improve their health within 3 months. A person who saves a small amount consistently may begin creating financial stability within 3 months. Small actions repeated consistently become powerful transformations. There is a story about a man who felt completely stuck in life. He was overweight, overwhelmed by debt, dissatisfied with his career, and struggling with low self-esteem. Every time he thought about changing his life, he became discouraged because the mountain seemed too large to climb. One day he decided to stop focusing on the mountain and start focusing on the next step. Instead of trying to lose 50 pounds, he committed to walking 20 minutes each day. Instead of trying to become wealthy overnight, he committed to tracking his spending. Instead of trying to become an expert in his field immediately, he committed to learning one new thing every day. 90 days later, he was not yet where he wanted to be, but he was no longer where he started. More importantly, he had become someone who trusted himself. He had proven that he could keep promises to himself. That shift in identity changed everything. The first step to reinventing yourself in the next 90 days is becoming brutally honest about your current reality. Many people avoid this step because it can be uncomfortable. It is easier to blame circumstances, other people, the economy, bad luck, or the past. Yet growth begins when responsibility begins. This does not mean blaming yourself for everything that has happened. It means recognizing that your future is still within your control. You may not control everything that happens to you, but you control how you respond. You control your habits. You control your attitude. You control your decisions. You control what you focus on. When you look honestly at your life, ask yourself difficult questions. Are your current habits helping you become the person you want to be? Are your daily routines moving you closer to your goals or further away from them? Are the people around you encouraging growth or encouraging comfort? Are you spending your time wisely or wasting it on distractions? These questions are not meant to make you feel guilty. They are meant to help you gain clarity. You cannot change what you refuse to acknowledge. Many years ago, a young man named Jim was struggling financially. He worked hard, but could not understand why success seemed to come so easily to others. One day, he met a mentor who asked him a simple question. The mentor said, "If someone were to follow you around every day for the next month and copy everything you do, would they eventually achieve the results you currently have?" The question hit him like a lightning bolt. He realized that his results were not random. They were connected to his habits, choices, and behaviors. That realization marked the beginning of a remarkable transformation. The second step in your reinvention journey is creating a compelling vision for the future. People who succeed are often driven by a clear picture of what they want. Without a vision, discipline feels like punishment. With a vision, discipline becomes an investment. You need a reason powerful enough to keep moving forward when motivation disappears. Imagine the person you want to become 90 days from now. How do they think? How do they speak? How do they spend their mornings? How do they respond to challenges? What habits define them? The clearer the vision becomes, the easier it becomes to align your actions with that vision. One of the most powerful examples comes from athletes preparing for major competitions. Long before they stand on the podium, they see themselves succeeding in their minds. They visualize the outcome repeatedly. This mental rehearsal helps strengthen their commitment to the process. Your mind works similarly. When you repeatedly focus on a positive future, you begin making decisions that support that future. The third step is understanding that identity drives behavior. Most people focus on outcomes. They want to lose weight, earn more money, improve relationships, or start a business. While goals are important, lasting transformation occurs when identity changes. Instead of saying, "I want to exercise," begin saying, "I am someone who takes care of my health." Instead of saying, "I want to save money," begin saying, "I am someone who manages money wisely." Instead of saying, "I want to read more books," begin saying, "I am a lifelong learner." This shift may sound simple, but it is incredibly powerful. Every action becomes a vote for the type of person you are becoming. Each time you exercise, you cast a vote for being healthy. Each time you learn something new, you cast a vote for being knowledgeable. Each time you keep a promise to yourself, you cast a vote for being disciplined. Reinvention happens when enough votes accumulate to create a new identity. There is a remarkable story about a woman who transformed her entire life after years of self-doubt. She had spent most of her adult life believing she was not capable of success. Every challenge reinforced that belief. Every setback confirmed her fears. Then she made a simple decision. Instead of asking herself whether she was capable, she began acting like the person she wanted to become. She started reading personal development books. She improved her daily habits. She developed new skills. She surrounded herself with growth-minded people. Within 90 days, her confidence increased dramatically. Within a year, she had launched a successful business. The transformation began the moment she changed her identity. The next 90 days have the potential to become one of the most important seasons of your life. Not because everything will magically become perfect, but because you can become stronger, wiser, more disciplined, and more confident than you are today. Remember that every great transformation begins with a decision. A decision to stop settling. A decision to stop making excuses. A decision to stop waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is not coming. The opportunity is now. The next 90 days will pass whether you take action or not. The only question is who you will become by the time those 90 days arrive. As you continue listening to this message, imagine your future self looking back at this exact moment. Imagine them thanking you for refusing to quit. Imagine them thanking you for choosing growth over comfort, discipline over excuses, and courage over fear. Because the life you want is not created in a single day. It is created through the decisions you make every single day, beginning right now. Now that we have established the foundation for transformation, it is time to talk about something that stops countless people from reinventing themselves. It is not lack of intelligence. It is not lack of opportunity. It is not even lack of resources. The greatest obstacle standing between most people and the life they desire is the version of themselves they have become comfortable being. Human beings are creatures of habit, and while habits can help us achieve extraordinary things, they can also trap us in patterns that no longer serve us. Many people say they want change, but what they really want is improvement without discomfort. They want better results without different actions. They want growth without uncertainty. Unfortunately, life does not work that way. Every meaningful transformation requires leaving behind something familiar in exchange for something unknown. Think about how many times people remain in situations they have already outgrown simply because those situations feel safe. Some stay in jobs they dislike for years because the paycheck feels predictable. Others remain surrounded by negative influences because loneliness feels uncomfortable. Some continue unhealthy habits because the temporary pleasure seems easier than the discipline required for long-term success. Yet every time you choose comfort over growth, you pay a hidden price. The price is your potential. The price is the future version of yourself that never gets the opportunity to emerge. One of the most inspiring examples comes from a man who worked in a factory for nearly 20 years. Every day looked exactly the same. He woke up at the same time, drove the same route, performed the same tasks, and returned home feeling exhausted. Deep down, he dreamed of starting his own business, but he convinced himself that he was too old, too inexperienced, and too far behind. One evening, after listening to a motivational speaker, he realized something powerful. The next 5 years were going to pass regardless of whether he pursued his dream. He could either remain exactly where he was, or use that time to build something new. He started learning after work. He watched educational videos, read books, took online courses, and gradually developed the skills he needed. His progress was slow at first, but after several months, opportunities began appearing. Within a few years, he left the factory and built a successful business. Looking back, he often said that the hardest part was not learning new skills. The hardest part was believing that he could become someone different. This is why reinvention always begins in the mind before it appears in reality. Before your circumstances change, your thinking must change. Before your income changes, your mindset about value and opportunity must change. Before your health changes, your relationship with discipline must change. Before your confidence changes, your internal dialogue must change. The battle for transformation is won or lost long before anyone else can see the results. Many people speak to themselves in ways they would never speak to another human being. They constantly remind themselves of their failures. They replay embarrassing moments from years ago. They focus on weaknesses instead of strengths. They magnify mistakes while minimizing progress. Imagine carrying a coach on your shoulder who criticizes every effort, questions every decision, and predicts failure before you even begin. That is exactly how many people treat themselves every day. Then they wonder why they struggle with confidence. If you want to reinvent yourself in the next 90 days, one of the first habits you must develop is the habit of becoming aware of your self-talk. The thoughts you repeat most often eventually become beliefs. Those beliefs influence your decisions. Those decisions shape your actions. Those actions determine your results. Everything begins with thought. This does not mean pretending problems do not exist or blindly repeating positive affirmations while ignoring reality. It means choosing thoughts that empower action instead of thoughts that justify inaction. Consider the story of a young woman who dreamed of becoming a public speaker. Every time she imagined standing on stage, fear overwhelmed her. She told herself she was not confident enough, experienced enough, or talented enough. For years she avoided opportunities because she believed she was not ready. One day she realized something important. Confidence was not something people received before taking action. Confidence was something they developed because of action. She started speaking to small groups, then slightly larger groups, then larger audiences. She made mistakes. She felt nervous. She occasionally embarrassed herself. Yet with every experience, her confidence grew. What changed her life was not the absence of fear. What changed her life was the decision to move forward despite fear. Fear is one of the most misunderstood forces in personal development. Most people believe successful individuals are fearless. The truth is quite different. Successful people experience fear just like everyone else. The difference is that they have learned to interpret fear differently. Instead of seeing fear as a stop sign, they see it as a signal that growth is nearby. Fear often appears when you are about to do something important. Fear appears when you leave your comfort zone. Fear appears when you challenge old limitations. Fear appears when you attempt something meaningful. Imagine standing at the edge of a swimming pool on a hot summer day. The water feels cold when you first touch it. Your mind immediately tells you to stay where it is comfortable. Yet once you jump in and allow your body to adjust, the water no longer feels uncomfortable. Personal growth works in much the same way. The anticipation is often more painful than the action itself. The fear of making a change is frequently greater than the actual challenge of making that change. As you work through the next 90 days, remember that progress rarely feels dramatic while it is happening. Many people quit because they expect transformation to be obvious immediately. They start a new habit for a week and become discouraged when they do not see massive results. They exercise for a few days and wonder why their body has not changed. They study a new skill for a short period and question whether it is worth the effort. What they fail to realize is that success often accumulates quietly beneath the surface before becoming visible. Think about a bamboo tree. For years after planting, very little appears to happen above ground. A person looking at the soil might assume nothing is growing. Yet beneath the surface, an extensive root system is developing. Then, once the foundation is strong enough, the tree experiences rapid growth. Human transformation often follows a similar pattern. The early stages may feel slow and unrewarding. Yet every disciplined action is strengthening your foundation. Comparison steals joy because it shifts your focus away from your own journey. The only meaningful comparison is between who you are today and who you were yesterday. If you are improving, learning, growing, and moving forward, then you are winning. The pace does not matter as much as the direction. A person taking small steps forward is making far more progress than someone standing still while dreaming about change. Another crucial principle for reinventing yourself is learning how to manage your environment. Many people underestimate the influence their surroundings have on their behavior. Environment shapes habits more than motivation does. If unhealthy food is constantly within reach, healthy eating becomes more difficult. If distractions surround you, focus becomes harder. If negative influences dominate your conversations, maintaining a positive mindset becomes challenging. This is why successful people intentionally design environments that support their goals. They remove unnecessary distractions. They surround themselves with people who inspire growth. They organize their space to encourage productive behaviors. They understand that relying solely on willpower is not enough. Systems and environments often determine success more effectively than motivation alone. There is a famous example involving a man who wanted to develop a reading habit. For years he struggled because he relied on motivation. Some days he read, and many days he did not. Then he made a simple change. Instead of keeping books hidden on a shelf, he placed them in visible locations throughout his home. Every time he sat down, he saw a book. Every time he entered a room, he was reminded of his goal. That small environmental adjustment dramatically increased the amount he read. What seemed like a minor change produced significant results over time. As you move through this 90-day transformation, there will inevitably be moments when enthusiasm fades. This is completely normal. Motivation is temporary by nature. Some days you will feel energized and unstoppable. Other days you will feel tired and discouraged. The key is understanding that your commitment cannot depend on your emotions. If you only act when you feel motivated, progress will always be inconsistent. Professional athletes understand this principle. They do not train only when they feel inspired. They train because training is part of their identity. Business leaders do not work toward their goals only when conditions are perfect. They continue because consistency creates results. Musicians do not practice only when they feel creative. They practice because mastery requires repetition. In every field, Excellence is built through consistent effort rather than occasional bursts of enthusiasm. One of the most powerful mindset shifts you can make is learning to keep promises to yourself. Every time you say you will do something and fail to follow through, you weaken trust in yourself. Conversely, every time you keep a commitment, no matter how small, you strengthen self-respect. This is why starting with manageable habits is often more effective than attempting dramatic changes all at once. If you promise yourself that you will exercise for 10 minutes, and you consistently follow through, you begin building evidence that you are reliable. If you promise yourself that you will read a few pages each day and consistently honor that commitment, you strengthen your identity as a disciplined person. Over time, these small victories accumulate. They create momentum. They create confidence. They create belief. And belief is one of the most powerful forces in human transformation. Remember that the goal of the next 90 days is not perfection. Perfection is an illusion that prevents many people from taking action. The goal is progress. The goal is becoming stronger than you were before. The goal is creating habits and mindsets that support the future you want to build. There will be mistakes. There will be setbacks. There will be days when you fall short of your expectations. Those moments do not define you. What defines you is your willingness to continue. So as this video comes to an end, I want you to remember one thing. Your future is not being created someday. Your future is being created today. It is being shaped by the decisions you make, the habits you practice, the thoughts you entertain, and the actions you take. The next 90 days can become one of the most transformative periods of your life if you choose to approach them with intention, discipline, and belief. The person you want to become is not as far away as you think. They are being built one choice at a time, one habit at a time, one day at a time. Keep going when progress feels slow. Keep learning when challenges arise. Keep believing when results have not yet appeared. Keep moving forward when others stop. Your breakthrough may be closer than you realize. Thank you for spending this time with us here on Daily Global Motivation. If this message inspired you, encouraged you, or challenged you to think differently, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with someone who needs motivation today. Leave a comment below and tell us one thing you are committed to changing in the next 90 days. We would love to hear your goals and support your journey. Remember, every great transformation begins with a decision, and that decision can start right now. Until next time, stay focused, stay disciplined, keep believing in yourself, and never forget that your best days may still be ahead of you.